A boxer who was in the most controversial fight finish seen last year in Melbourne will return soon from Britain. He is Belfast's Frankie Young, the fellow who won his first Australian fight while on both knees. The guy Jackson hit him when he was down and got disqualified. He's beaten Ricky Porter. He does right, gets beat there. Disqualified, he attacks bare-fisted. Yes, when this guy, Brendan Jackson, got disqualified, the two of them went at it again in the ring. But Jackson was the instigator and it had to be broke up. Jackson boiled for 60 seconds as his gloves were taken off and then rushed across and bare-fisted Young in the face. Hit him a punch in the face. Stewards milled around and busted Jackson from the ring. Referee Terry Riley said he disqualified Jackson for hitting Young when the Irishman was down. But Riley ignored the fact that Young had disqualified himself by going down without being hit before Jackson's belated blow. There you go. Belfast welterweight Frankie Young outsmarted and outboxed Victorian Brendan Jackson for a points victory in the 10th round fight at the Festival Hall last night. Once again, this was in Australia and this was a rematch to list out here. Young was on borrowed time from the 5th round when his left eyebrow was opened from a headbutt. Oh, this guy sounds like a very dirty fighter. Referee Terry Riley inspected the eyebrow after that round and decided to let the Englishman continue. That's a mistake. It should be Irishman. Oh, a wild and woolly fight. A wild and woolly fight. The battered Young picked off Jackson with straight lefts and hammered him with left hooks and right crosses at close range. Jackson made a tremendous effort in the 10th round, but Young had taken a firm grip by that stage and continued to pick off the Victorian with straight lefts and rights. Young ruled out, purse withheld, oh dear. Frankie Young, former Ulster Amateur champion, still hasn't been paid today after a fierce-fisted battle in Johannesburg on Saturday night. Young, 24, threw one low punch too many in his fight with a tough South African, Juan Keys. So it's a different one than Jackson. That's another low blow Frankie's threw. He was a rough and tumble fighter. And Frankie was disqualified in the 5th round. He had previously been warned for the infringement, which could lead to part of his purse being confiscated. His purse has been frozen pending an inquiry. Young, leading contender for the Irish welterweight title, was conceding several pounds in weight to his middleweight rival. Frankie just didn't care. Just didn't care. There you go. He buckled Keys in round 2 for body shot. Right. Says, but for a low blow, he might have won this contest. Harry Mullen, if you live in the Falls Road in Belfast, you need to be a fighter, right? If you've got 10 brothers and 2 sisters, you need to be an extra good fighter. I think I read that earlier. Yeah. And he beat Billy Seaman. The members voted to scrap the best of the winter and contributed over £20 in nobbins. That's going to throw shillings into the ring if it's been a great fight. They throw them in appreciation of 2 warriors. He just won by half a point, Frankie. And how does Young relish the idea of risking £500, probably his entire purse, on a punch-up array? Well, we'll have to wait until Frankie gets back from another mission to South Africa to know the answer to that one. He flew there last weekend for a fight with Spider Kelly, his third contest this month. Is it any wonder this Ulsterman has been called the Pro's Pro? He'll pull on the gloves with anybody providing the money is right. Young is 24 and managed by former featherweight champion Bobby Neal. I try to learn something from every fight, he tells me. That's why I like to box somebody reputedly better than myself. Like Bertini, for instance, and Foray and Duran, all three were national champions when I fought them. It was in Barcelona a fortnight ago that Young dropped a 10-round decision to Duran, his fifth defeat in over 20 contests. I think Duran might have won a European title. There's Paddy Maguire there. Paddy Maguire will be back in the top of the bill role here next month. But it is too much to expect either McCormick or Young to fill a supporting cast. There's the boys. Commonwealth Games. Frankie, McAlinden, Maguire, Macaulay. Now to boil himself down in a Turkish bath for his winning fight against Victorian welterweight Brendan Jackson on TV ringside at Festival Hall last night. This guy, Jackson, was a real rough and tumble fighter, like Frankie. Ulster team crushed South Africa's easy boxing victory. Sammy Lockhart, Sammy Vernon, Frankie Young lost to Van Graan on points. Young looked as if he might score a first round knockout when he caught the South African with a right to the jaw and followed with a barrage of hooks and swings. Van Graan's fitness was clearly evident as he took everything and fought back. The remaining rounds provided really solid hooking and crossing for both men, but the South African lasted better to take a majority of split decision. Van Graan went down the last round to what seemed like a low right. Frankie's at it again, a low right hand punch, but he resumed, and the referee did not even issue a caution. There's a photograph there. Look up on the phone left it. We Sammy Vernon. There he stole the show. He's an amateur there. See that the write-ups are all mixed up. Who was he fighting? Davy Wilson of Midhill Boys Club, the Scottish Eastern District champion. I am not going to let this Islander beat me, was the fighting talk from the tough Irish boxing champion Frank Young, who on Monday night meets the unbeaten Simone middleweight, battling La Avasa over 10 3-minute rounds at the YMCA Stadium. It says Young is most confident. Jim McCourt, Frankie, Sammy Lockhart and Eamon McCusker. Young wins, but ref gets cheers. That's against England. Right, the St Matthews boxer reeled back to avoid a right hand from Young at the start of the third round. The back of his head struck the referee, and obviously upset by the incident, he allowed Young to get on top for a unanimous points decision. Paul Paul Carson's name earlier. Frank Sample, beat my dad. I already beat my dad. And Frankie Young beat Fitzsimmons. Yeah, we read about that earlier. Yeah. Frankie Young not defending his Ulster title. One outstanding omission is that of welterweight champion and international Frankie Young. Of last year's champions, Sammy Vernon, Paddy Graham, Sammy Lockhart and Bob Johnson are now in the paid ranks. See, one entry this year is at a different weight. Ex-flyweight champion Patsy McCauley, Holy Family. See, he's not my dad, that's Patsy McCauley, the flyweight. There was two Patsy McCauleys in the Holy Family. My dad was a welterweight. I'm not turning pro, says Olympic hope Frankie Young. He actually did. When they didn't pick him for the Mexico Olympics. My target is winning an Olympic medal. And there's Frankie landing an uppercut. A right uppercut to the jaw of Pat McCrory. We heard about that earlier. To make it, here we come. Frankie there, Jim McCourt. Jim McCauley, Eamon McCusker, Sammy Lockhart. To lose £3 there to get the fight. Since winning the bronze medal in Kingston, Jamaica, and in the cooler climate of Canada, Young has been putting on weight again, but team trainer Harry Enright put him through a rigorous test to ensure his presence at the build-up tonight. Burns wants revenge. I wonder if that Barney Burns. It is indeed Barney Burns, yep. There's Frankie there. Lovely photo of Frankie. Yeah. Irish amateur boxers Paddy Graham, Paddy Maguire, Sammy Lockhart, John Rogers, Frankie Young and Alan Beattie. Listen to tips from trainer Harry Enright as they prepare to meet Poland. They're all legends, all great. That was a great era in boxing. Fantastic era in boxing. Where Barney Burns. These are all amateur ones. Frankie Young, Irish international welter, who missed the championships, can stake his recent European amateur boxing claim once again for recognition on the national team by beating his Scottish opponent Joe Wilson. Sammy Vernon meets Jim Gibson. Patsy McCauley, that's a flyweight. Fine win for Frank Young. He beat A. McDonald, Albert Foundry, under 21s. Oh, that's when he beat the Polish guy. Frankie is determined to win this one and has his eyes set on a trip to Mexico later in the year. A controversial fighter, he had an unsteady season last year which included disqualification for an alleged low blow against Scotland in Glasgow. A strong hooker, he represented Ulster at the Leeds Ulster Week last May and gained a majority points decision over Northwest Counties star Tato. No. It's probably some of Frankie's decorating work. Frankie Young will be fighting as a welter at the Ulster Hall, Belfast tonight. His proposed West German opponent, Gunter Mayer, a late middle who beat Bombridge man Eamon McCusker, had to have 3 stitches inserted in a mouth wound after Friday's international in Dublin. He has been ordered by a medical advisor not to fight tonight. Young pulls out. Look at that team now, look at that. Jim McCord, Frankie Young, Ian McCusker, Barney Burns, Sammy Vernon, Jim McCauley, Paddy Graham, Sammy Lockhart. Wow. There's Frankie throwing a right hook against his best opponent, the Russian welterweight, Frolov. That was his best win of his whole career. The guy was European champion, gold medalist, and Olympic silver medalist. Frank Young, Belfast welter, flew into Berlin only a few hours before the promotion was due to start, substituting for Italian Ivano Pacchetti, who had been involved in a car accident. If Young knew the name of his opponent before he left his base, then he was a very brave man to have accepted this date at such short notice. Frankie didn't fear anybody. His opponent was Tokyo Olympic Games middleweight bronze medalist Jim Mayagan, Nigeria, who won the 8-rounder in points. Frank just came in there a few hours' notice. Probably worked that day as a painter and decorator. This guy Frankie hitting the fella when he's down. That's that we spoke about earlier, the big fight. This is a guy hitting Frankie with a bare fist. Brendan Jackson. This is actually Frankie on the ground here getting hit by Jackson. And it was a sort of get out of jail because Frankie looked as though he was losing. Frank invaded down under. The Irish amateur boxing team and officials at Dublin Airport yesterday before their departure to Warsaw, where tomorrow they box Poland. There you go, there's Frankie there. So it was a wee axe beside Danny McElinden. Yeah, but a wee axe. It's Frankie. Paddy Maguire. John Rogers. Another good friend of mine. Box for Lisburn. Defeat of Young is shock. Dominic Savio, the welterweight Joe Young, surprisingly beaten in the finals of the Ulster Junior Championships, Boxing Championships at Paisley Park in Belfast last night. He lost a split decision. It's Frankie's brother. I don't think he ever fought for the Irish title, Frankie. There's so much about him going to fight Desiree Filla and Gus Farrell for the Irish title, but I don't think they come off. Frank Young, 22-year-old Belfast decorator, was like a cat on hot coals today. Restless, tormented, not his usual cheery self. And that way you can be sure he will remain until he knows the answer to one question. Has he been picked to box at next month's European Championships in Rome? Somebody wrote a letter to, Dear Frank, I would like to congratulate you on your win against a Russian last Saturday. It must have been a marvellous contest, and I was delighted to hear that you fought so well. Wish I had been there to see it. I send you every good wish for success in the future, especially for Mexico. Yours sincerely, Irene Dowie. Fan mail. That's the great champion Frolov, the Russian, against Frankie. This is Frankie here. Young wins in what a battle. Billy Seasman. Young hangs on for a thriller. Billy Seasman, yeah. Same one, yeah. Same one, yeah. Look, that must be a German paper. Some Italian German. Well, I recognise Frankie. Desiree. Oh, that's Morgan's pal. That's Denmark. That's over in Denmark. Yep. Morgan's pal was a big promoter in Denmark. Trainer Harry Enright gives 4 Ulster members of the Ireland under-21 team some good advice during a training session in Paisley Park Gymnasium. Left to right, featherweight Sammy Lockhart, Dominic Savio's Frankie Young, Alan Beattie, and Lisbon's John Rogers. Frankie again, that's him against the late heavyweight champion, world champion, Pt4. Pat Young, a hard-hitting welterweight prospect from Fitzroy Lodge in London, made it 6 straight wins. Yeah, outpointing Johnny Chambers. Frankie again. Ulster members of the Irish boxing team who meet Wales tonight in Cardiff. Eamon McCusker, Frankie Young, John McCrory, Jim McCrory. And boot ticket with Cardiff win. And he's up against D. Cronswick from Barry. Oh, there's his Irish title certificate. Yeah, Frankie Young, Dominic Savio. That's a senior, yeah. 1968. 3rd of May. There you go. Paddy Graham and Eamon McCusker, both good winners in London, and Frankie Young, the man who was on the wrong end of a controversial result on that occasion, have semi-final hurdles to overcome tonight. The toughest task is Frankie Young, Dominic Savio welterweight. He takes on Frank Fitzsimmons, a brother of Irish regular Paddy Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons is quite a useful performer, and in the past he found the opposition of the welterweight Jim McCourt too much for him. As mentions my dad again. Says he was rescued from drowning, Frank Sampi, his opponent, last summer. There's always a wee X of Frankie. Jim McCourt. Doesn't look like Jim McCourt. I'm not sure that is Jim McCourt. Frankie's body blow. The Ulster champion learned on Thursday morning he would not be permitted to box in this year's Ulster Senior Championships, which start this week, because his entry had not been received by the closing date of Saturday, February the 3rd. And all through no fault of his own. The man who takes the blame and who accepts full responsibility is Dominic Savio secretary Liam McConnell, Stack McConnell, who says, in all the excitement of preparing Frankie for the international, I overlooked getting the entry in by the Saturday night. He was a legend in Australia and South Africa. There's a photo of Alan Minter, a young Alan Minter, and Frankie Young. It's Minter's 10th fight. Frankie running very close. Speedy Young stops Farrell on face injury in round 6. Should have been for the Irish title. Right, I'm just reading that into myself there. Frank Young and Pat McCrory. Frankie's dropped somebody. I don't know who it is. Time to bring home fighting Frankie. I just know they want him to box in his own country. Yeah, the Ulster Hall, yeah. Unfortunately, he never did. Matchmaking today, especially in Belfast, is the most heartbreaking and frustrating job in boxing. But with the local game crying out for fresh faces and interest, it seems a mystery to me as to why Belfast-born Young hasn't yet to appear as a pro in his native city. Scotland intent on revenge. I wonder, as Marty Quinn, Glasgow, Paul Carson, who spoke about earlier. So Paul must be a... Yeah. That's again against Foloff, best opponent he ever boxed. He was a cracker too. Yeah, he boxed some great boxers. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, same, yeah. These are in Australian papers. See, this is all the talk here about this guy Frolov, the Russian, the reigning European gold medalist and Olympic silver medalist. So Frankie Young, the Belfast welterweight, who is virtually a stranger to home fans, is back on the winning trail. Yeah. He had pointed Kahu Mahanga in a 10-rounder in Melbourne on Monday night and hopes to come home shortly and throw everything into a campaign for a title fight. Right, how do I read this? What's this all about from Brussels, Belgium? Dear Frank, at least I can't touch you. I saw it in Boxing News, I think that is. Look at you speak of your contest with Larry Paul. Is that L. Paul? Is it Larry Paul? Okay, I will do it with the other Frank Young. I'm a boxing fan in the right manner. Not a star one or a publicity fighter one, no, a real one. All I can say about you fighters have to win fights to have a recognition. You lost fights in special manner, short notice, and also you are not beaten inside. Well, with all the people you have met, well, some broken English, I know champs who deserve not the cheers for what they do at home. In comparison with yours performance, you have been a long time between the two divisions and take a job when they come. So you are a loser in power. That's why been robbed of many. There you go. That's 1973. What I think what the guy's trying to say is, you know, he has more respect for Frankie than what he does championship fighters and like some Minter and Finnegan and top fighters there, and John Conte and Henry Cooper, and he's more respect for somebody like Frankie, who boxes in the opponent's hometown, who doesn't care whether they're welterweight, light middleweight, or light heavyweight. He'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. He likes that. He's a fan of that sort of fighter, and Frankie Young was that sort of fighter. Have gloves, will travel. A warrior. Yeah, that's his pros. They're making a name for themselves. Danny McAlinden and Frankie Young, poised for Irish double. They all respected Frankie. And no doubt Minter and Finnegan and a lot more fighters hold him in the highest regard. Of course, all sadly passed now. Held him in the highest regard. Right, here we go. Frankie Young, a 25-year-old Belfast welterweight with a set sight on the British title, hopes for a repeat performance when he steps up for an all-Irish fight with Dublin's Gus Farrell at the Royal Albert Hall, London tonight. Oh, so he's fighting there for the Irish title. Last year he tracked to Italy, Germany, Australia and South Africa, as well as Manchester, with considerable success. In his last bout, however, he was beaten by Jose Duran in Barcelona. Says manager Bobby Neal, if Frank hits the right mood, he can be one of the best welterweights in Europe. I am convinced he can become a British champion. I've won, but Ireland lost. In a moment of glory for Frank Young after his win over the Russian Olympic silver medalist in the National Stadium last night. But there was little glory for the Irish team, defeated decisively 7-2. But a great personal victory for Frankie Young. That was his best win. And there's a photo of on the left hook, the Prolof. There's again against Prolof. So it says there Prolof and it says there Prolof. It's the same guy. Yeah, there you go again. Another superb performance was served up by painter Frankie Young. The Dominic Savio welterweight was right out in front from the start of a rugged contest against Rami Gaomose to emerge a points winner and qualify for a bronze medal. Oh, that's the Commonwealth Games. Draws worked out well for Young. He meets an old foe, Bobby Orfer of England. There you go. So Orfer beat him twice as an amateur. Orfer scraped through a points winner in Ballymena in January in the semi-finals. Were the favourite. Oh, it's the English team for the Commonwealth Games. I'm talking about the Irish team here. Frankie Young, Gus Farrell. Welterweight contest, 8 3-minute rounds. Official contender for the British Welterweight Championship. Commonwealth Games. That's his other Irish certificate. That's the second one. Oh, this is the Ulster one. Sorry, this is the Ulster. Champion of Ulster. Young stops Farrell. Does it say anything about an Irish title fight, though? No, it doesn't. Cemented his claim to a crack at Days Ray's All-Ireland welterweight title when he beat former champion Gus Farrell in convincing style. South African champion Pt4, he went on to win the world light heavyweight title. Irish blockbuster Frankie Young. Oh, and that's his Irish. That's his Irish certificate there. Won by Frankie Young. 1966. The other one must have been the 68 one. Wow. There's real boxing gold here. Real history here. At one time, a very proud Frankie Young held this in his hands. Textbook left hook. Where's it pointed there? Peter Quinn. I pointed him in an 8-round welterweight fight. Oh, he was sorry. Unbeaten. Quinn was having his 13th contest. But as I said, Frankie would have come in at very late notice. You know, he could have been working that day, or maybe he was half fit. Kill the rumours, Frankie. That was his best one. Personality of the week is Frankie Young. I wonder, is that the guy from Dominic Savio? Stack? Oh, no. As he listens to the advice of his trainer, former featherweight international Johnny McClory, at the end of his first round of his welterweight bout with Frolov at the National Stadium. So he won Personality of the Week for beating that guy. But what a win it was. It came as a split decision. But since the man he beat had won a silver medal in the Tokyo Olympics and had won 161 of his 178 fights at a very high level, it was a tremendous achievement. Frankie doing a bit of skipping. Irishman Frankie Young is up in the air in more ways than one. Here he shows a lot of bounce in his high-speed skipping routine during a workout today. Nobody loves boxing more than the Irish, he retorted. And wherever you go, there are plenty of Irishmen. Young has a record of 32 wins in 41 fights, 24 by knockout. He has a draw. He has a draw with Tokaro's Kahu Mahanga on his record, plus a split points loss to the leading European light middleweight contender Silvano Bertini of Italy. And that's the madness there. That's when Jackson hit him with a bare fist after Jackson hit Frankie when he was down. Crazy. Right where the trouble began, Young on his knees, that's that photo there, gets an unexpected whack from Jackson. Above, the fight is over, but Brendan Jackson facing the camera and Frankie Young weren't convinced because they fought on after the fight. That's the King's Hall. For the Frankie Lar. All these international contests. Frankie Young, Yep. Young may need some Irish luck. Jim McCourt, boxing legends all. Brendan McCarthy, Mick Dowling, Eddie Tracy, Marty Quinn, Jim McCourt, Frankie Young, Eamon McCusker, Barney Burns, Danny McAlinden. What a team! What a team! Legends all. And Irish amateur boxing history. It's another Ulster certificate. So he won 2 Ulster and 2 All Ireland, and they're in this book. I would just like to know about that medal. There we go. There he is there. I'll tell you who that looks like. And I'm quite sure it is. That's Bran Faulkner, who was Northern Ireland Secretary of State way back in the 70s. That's who that is. This must be London then. And it's an amateur representation. That's the Ulster. He's representing Ulster. I don't think I've read anything about this. Who this is. But that's Bran Faulkner. And there's Jerry Story in the background. Wow. See, the boxing game's incredible. I mean, you travel the world, you meet famous people. It's your education. I mean, coming from West Belfast, Andy Town, coming from Ardoyne, you know, the life you see is incredible. See, Frolov was to fight Jim McCourt. If the Russians decide that Evgeny Frolov should box at his recognised weight, he will share the ring with McCourt. If not, then he'll box Young. That's the position in a nutshell, said James Devine, IABA Secretary today. Hugh Russell. Oh, this Hugh Russell here, the late Hugh Russell, Damien Friars, Ken Buchanan, Patsy Quinn, Seamus McGuinness. Well, I think we might be coming to the end of Frankie's stuff. David Armour. We will see. Frankie Young appointed in London by Peter Quinn. Next Tuesday, the 6-man panel of boxers for the Olympic Games trip will be announced. That was heartbreaking. Frankie should have been there. See, I mean, that Russian guy, that was his best man. That Russian guy was very special. Sorry, I'm just reading. Frankie, our car rolled down the driveway and hit yours. Sorry, mate. I'll call over and see you in the morning at 12:30. Robbie, what's that doing in the scrapbook? There we go. A couple of Barney Eastwood shows in the 60s, yeah. And I mean, Frankie, yeah. Well, that was the 60s, isn't it? I would say it's the 60s. Yeah, 65. A wee bit before Frankie's time. No, I've never heard. Oh, I've heard of Al Sharp, yeah. Never heard of the other guys. Here's again, and these are just old boxing news. I miss anything? No. And that's it. And in a few days, it'll be Frankie's 4th anniversary. when mourn is passing. May he rest in eternal paradise. It's been lovely. Thank you very much to the family for letting me have a scrapbook and go through it and read it. God bless.